Can this be an ASMR episode?
Yeah. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Is that ASMR?
Yes, that's it.
Shimmy,
right
shimmy,
there.
shimmy, shimmy.
All ASMR videos are on YouTube is people getting real close and saying shimmy, shimmy, shimmy the whole time.
Hello, and welcome to WayTooBroad, a place for friends to talk about things they're really, really ridiculously excited about. Oops, I did the old one again. And it's a program also. Gotta say program. I'm Hannah, and I have 3 co-hosts today. Surprise! So, you've got our normal co-hosts, Erin and Ben. Hi,
That's
Erin.
one
Hi,
co-host?
Hi, Hannah. Hi, Ben.
Hey, don't talk till you introduce. Pardon her, she doesn't know
Kylie.
podcast etiquette.
And then our special guest, surprise co-host is Kylie.
Surprise.
Hi, Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to WayTooBroad again.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Returning guest.
It's been years.
It's been years.
Yeah, it's been years.
Oh, no, it's been
Yeah,
over
it's
a
been
year.
Years. It's been, yeah.
It was
It's October
2017.
Look at that.
2017.
Wow.
Wow.
We're like veteran podcasters now, basically.
We're like vets.
Kylie, when you first met us, we were but tiny baby podcasters just emerging from the womb.
Yeah, I first met you when you started podcasting, not years before.
That was
Kylie,
when we
it's-
were in utero.
It's been a really good almost 2 years of knowing you.
Yeah. Yes. You were no one before you were a podcaster.
If it's not recorded, it never happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so Kylie's here. We're really excited about that. We've known Kylie for longer than we've been podcasting, if that wasn't clear.
That's true. I'm
I
excited
haven't.
to find out why Kylie's here today. It was a surprise for me, too. It's such a delight to
Me
see
too.
somebody other than Ben's face.
Ain't
Thank
that
you.
the truth?
Oh.
Yeah. That's
Everyone's
nice.
so nice.
The fact of
Yeah.
the matter is, Ben is boring, and he didn't have an obsession to steal from me this week, like he does every other week. So he just brought me on.
Excellent.
That's right.
Love
Kylie's
it.
actually
That's true.
like a silent co-host nearly every week.
Yep.
Yeah, I steal half my obsessions from her
It's
anyway,
true.
so I'm
It's
just cutting
true.
out the middleman this week and
Love
bringing
it.
her on to talk for herself.
You
That's
being
right.
the middleman, that's just...
Yeah, I'm cutting myself out. I'm actually going to go. Just let Kylie handle the rest
Okay,
of the
see you, Ben. Bye, Ben.
Bye, Ben.
Bye.
Speaking of you stealing Kylie's obsession, I have a upfront thing, which is that I'm on the 3rd Darker Shade of Magic audiobook. And I have to say, so the Dark Shade of Magic book 1, I was like, it was pretty good, and I wasn't going to listen to book 2 because somebody, I won't say who, told me that it was like not as interesting. I thought it was really fucking thrilling.
It was so
Right?
I
good.
love the second
Same,
book.
the
second
second one
one-
is the best one.
It was
Hands
so
down.
good. It was,
It was
so good.
so
The,
good.
the whole like Essentosh thing, and we can cut out the
Yes.
nitty gritties, was like so freaking exciting.
So exciting.
I thought it was really fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
when I read the first book, I was not enthralled until I
Yes.
wasn't as interested until I got like really deep into it and started to honestly until like Lila came in, and then I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to the second book, she just writes romantic tension, like sexual tensions,
Mhm.
so fucking well.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mhm.
whole like Hunger Games Avatar mix was just dope as fuck.
Slash like Triwizard Tournament.
Yes,
Yeah.
Like a little
so
bit.
good,
Yep.
so good.
Kind of a lot of it, but you know, it was great. So I'm on the 3rd book now. I just wanted a quick update there.
Good.
But
Ben's
I'm like-
still on the 3rd book.
But I was a little bummed because like I thought the best part of the second book was like the Essentosh and like how fun those like fight scenes were, and so I'm a little like, you know, for the 3rd book I'm like, oh man, I wish they would have that again. But
It's also very exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's
Kylie,
like
have you
still-
read all 3?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. And Ben, you still haven't finished the 3rd one?
Correct.
I finished the 3rd one earlier this week.
nice.
Ooh, did you like it?
Yes, I did. I loved it. I kind of stalled out towards the beginning of it. I'm not sure why. But when I got back into listening to it,
I've stalled towards the. Well, I'm not. I'm like maybe a quarter through.
Yeah,
I've kind of stalled a little bit.
That was probably around where I did. Keep pushing through because it does get really good.
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
I was on our website today, and it seems like there's 3 more books coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there are.
Yeah,
they're coming out.
I don't know anything about
they're
it.
taking place like same main characters. Like they're taking place 7 years after, I think, or just a period of time after. So it's some sort of time skip.
Cool.
That won't be for a while, though. I think she's tweeted that like that's a project, but it's not like not soon to be released or anything.
Gotcha.
Oh, I love it.
Cool.
That's exciting.
Also speaking of like obsession-y things, have you guys finished what's the fucking show called? Russian Doll?
Hell
Yes.
Yes. I watched it on one day.
Nice. Awesome.
And I watched the second half for the second time with her.
Nice.
And I've watched it twice through.
Cool.
Wow, really dedicated
chill.
to that show.
It's so good.
I've still only watched it the once.
It's so good.
I saw a tweet that said that the show was had a suspiciously well written female lead, so they checked out the writers, and it was just like 7 women, and that explained it all.
Yeah,
I think it was also like all women directorial and maybe crew. Is that possible?
I might have said that. You might have gotten that from me because I said it, but I don't think that.
I don't know, Erin. I think I did hear it first from you, but then I think I read it later.
Okay. Yeah, we might have read it in the same place.
We might have. Also, I started listening to Emily of New Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
awesome.
really?
I wanted to read that after.
Erin and I were talking about how we thought there might be, because I've been on the Reddit for Russian Doll, reading theories and stuff. I've actually found some really good ones, which I won't go into here, but if you guys are interested offline, let me know. But,
I can hook you up.
off the air.
Yep.
Hit you with theory.
but why did I say that? Oh, but we were talking about how Emily of New Moon might have some interesting like connections since they reference it so much. So I want to listen to it. And so far, it's pretty good.
So far, it's like it's pretty good. Are
That
you
was the same woman who
listening?
wrote Anne of Green Gables?
Yeah,
That's
Her
a
she's
joke.
haunting a house in I forget where.
Hannah is it on Audible and has the narrator.
It's on Audible. The narrator is okay.
Okay. Cool. What's everyone drinking? What am I drinking?
Yeah, what are you drinking, Erin?
You tell me. I'm drinking a grapefruit Spindrift. I got that Spindrift up at the Costco.
Nice.
Thursday
nice.
night.
Wicca Spindrift.
Yeah. Got it at the Costco, and I got a black cherry seltzer because that's
Got
the life
it.
I'm living these days. There it is.
Nice. I have a spicy ginger
Excuse
ale.
you.
Is it not? Is it going in order?
It does go in order.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Excuse me.
It's actually it is Ben's turn though. So
That's so funny.
Go ahead.
We have this
Now
like
that
arbitrary.
you have been called
Kylie,
on.
we have this like arbitrary unspoken order that we've never ever announced on the podcast. I can't believe that you have not respected it
Unbelievable.
just now.
I like to bring a little taste of chaos.
A little too much if you ask me.
Is that the Canada Dry slogan?
Taste of chaos.
Yes, that's exactly
Canada
what
Dry.
it is.
A taste of chaos.
Kylie, is that all you have? Do you have other drinks?
She
I
has a
have
second.
an additional full ginger ale for backup. And
Or
then
like
a bag of Valentine's Day candy that I got for Ben that I'm eating.
Nice. I see how that works.
That's good. Ben,
You have
what
a
are
taste of
drinking?
chaos and then a backup can of chaos.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have iced water, but I also brought a fun snack that I got today.
Oh yeah.
You're not supposed to snack on podcast recordings.
Well, it's a very quiet snack. I
Okay.
went to Zion Mart today because we had curry for dinner. It's an Asian supermarket near us, and every time I go to an Asian supermarket, I try and get like a fun Asian snack I haven't had before because there are a lot of interesting ones. And I got this one because it's called Home Run Ball.
Wow, that looks really good. And it looks crunchy, in my opinion.
It's not crunchy at all, and it is really good. It's like little cream puffs, basically.
Oh, okay.
filled with
Eat one
chocolate.
right now. I'll be the judge of if it's crunchy. Okay.
Wow, I can't even hear anything.
It's pretty silent. That's a silent home run. That's a home run.
That is a home run ball.
That was, okay. To be fair, that was my preferred way of eating it, which is like squishing it, so I didn't actually bite into it.
That's what she said.
I squished it on the top of my mouth. I can do a bite test now. I'll do a bite into it.
Okay, let's do a bite. That's like
silent.
That's pretty
silent but delicious.
All right.
Good podcast snack.
Yeah.
I'd like to retract my earlier statement about it being crunchy. It is clearly not crunchy.
I thought they. I thought they looked crunchy too. I did not expect. I was very surprised by how light the bag was, based on its size, and then when I opened it, I was surprised by them and their texture. But they're delicious. I recommend
Surprise!
them.
Home run
ball. We are not sponsored, but we'd love to be.
Home run ball. Hit us up. It's Korean. I think.
No, hit us up.
Hey!
Nice.
Hey.
Nice.
Very good.
Ben, can you take a picture of those
No,
for the internet? So they can enjoy them too?
I won't do it.
All right.
I'm not doing
I
it
tried.
right now. I'll tell you
You
that
all
much.
heard it. I tried.
He doesn't want others taking them and eating them and not leaving any for him.
Yeah, they'll buy all of them. They'll buy all of the home run balls.
That's right.
I have 2 drinks. Not that anybody asked me.
Hannah, what are you drinking?
I have a lime polar seltzer,
Nice.
which I actually should have mentioned second because it plays into one of my upfront things I want to get to.
Okay.
And I have a Bantam alcoholic ginger beer
Ooh.
Nice.
made right here in good old Massachusetts.
Wow, that looks super nice. I wish I had one of those.
So this is the cider company that makes my favorite cider. It's called Rojo, and it's red. It's red, as you might imagine.
It's Rojo.
It's called Rojo. It's red.
It's a tart, like cherry and apple cider. It's red, and so so Ian was actually looking for those, but then he found this instead. And one reason that I think he bought it, although he claims he didn't see it, is that it does describe itself as smooth and
red.
Spicy right on the front.
Spicy, huh?
I would describe myself the same way.
How would you describe ginger, the flavor?
Oh God, I really don't know. Poppy love. Poppy
Wow.
love.
Okay.
Are you describing it in like a translated language? Like badly translated language?
I'm just giving you what's in my head.
It's definitely I've never heard that one before.
That's
Like
a good one. Poppy love.
Yeah.
Okay.
It pops and you love it. You love
It
it.
pops?
Yeah, it pops. You know,
It
in retrospect, I'm just thinking of ginger ale.
So, like, bubbly?
Yes, but I said poppy because I forgot that word.
Soda-y.
So, like, sweet and, like, carbonated?
Yes,
That's
carbonated.
what ginger tastes like
And
to
then I
me.
added the word love because I like it.
I think it's great. I think it still applies.
Yeah,
I'm keeping it. Let's keep it.
poppy
Right.
love.
Poppy
Yeah.
love.
Taste
so
the
you're
chaos.
having a ginger ale. Yeah, so we're both having ginger beverages. That's nice.
Wow. You guys.
We guys.
It was planned.
You
Yeah.
guys.
So speaking of limes,
Yes.
I
Ben
can see why you
asked-
want to do that second now.
Fantastic transition.
Yeah, that was really nice. Speaking of limes, which we did at some point.
yeah,
some
which
time
we
at
did
one time.
earlier. Ben asked a really important question last week about key limes. I don't
Forget
know
what it was.
He asked the hard-hitting question. I remember the question.
Would you like to remind Ben what his question was?
Ben, your question was, do they have key limes, which are the only dessert fruit, in Australia?
That's right.
Down
I do
under.
remember asking that.
Why in particular Australia?
Because we have some Australian friends that listen.
Ah,
And I was just thinking about it, because actually I don't remember why I was thinking about where they have key limes or not.
Because we were arguing about key limes.
We were just arguing
Oh,
about
okay.
it.
Yeah. So I have an answer
All right.
from a listener.
Great. Let's
In
hear
Australia, and it's an audio answer, so I'm going to play it for you guys.
it. Oh, fun.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Hi, Hannah and Erin and Ben, or as I like to refer to you as, Handburn. Hi from Australia, it's your main boy, here with an update on the key lime pie question. I have been checking with a couple people, mainly myself and a friend, and as far as we know, it straight up doesn't exist. So it's probably a bit for you to process, like learning that something just doesn't exist and that it's completely fake and it doesn't, like, you've never actually eaten it. That's pretty weird. But like, let's pretend it does exist. Australia doesn't have it. And the only references I can find to it is like a Women's Weekly recipe randomly at some point, which like you just can't get it. It's not here. So I do wonder what it tastes like. Is it like a cheesecake that tastes like limes? Is it like when you bite into a whole lime and you get the juice flavor? Probably not. Anyway, that's my story about the key lime pie. It's just not here. Also, no key lime LaCroix either, because LaCroix also doesn't exist here, even though I want to try it. Which apparently tastes like soda water that someone put a lime nearby. If you could confirm that for me by tasting your key lime LaCroix. Anyway, my obsession for this week is a musician on YouTube who's been running for years now, called Andrew Huang, who does these really cool, sort of interesting, innovative sort of videos that are accessible, but also really technical about like music and music equipment, and also like turning everyday things into music. So like, for one of his mainstay things has been like sampling things and editing those samples down to be like pitched up or down and make like a desk or like a lime sound like something else by like scraping it and tapping it and then editing that into an actual song. And that's been one of his main things. And the other thing he's done is there's one of the series he does called Super Fast Beat Making, where he looks up YouTube videos that have been released like 10 minutes ago and then makes music out of all these completely fresh videos that like he samples into beats and have like cool like little vocal stings from these random YouTube videos. Yeah, he's really good. He's worked so hard on his YouTube channel to build himself up. He's got like over 1 million subscribers, I think. So I feel like you would have heard of him at some point. Someone listening will have heard of him. And he's really good, and he's got a lot of support now from brands and things like that, which I'm really happy about because he deserves it. And he does such a great job. That's Andrew Huang. You can find him on YouTube. Go check it out.
So
Cool.
neat. Thank you, Eamon.
Yeah, that sounded super
That's
interesting.
fascinating. The part about the key limes.
Yeah, the other part sucked.
I would describe the flavor of key lime as poppy love.
That's not bad, actually. Poppy love is a good description for a lot of yummy flavors.
I would describe it as sharp.
Sharp. Kylie's a visionary.
She is.
She really
putting
shows the
words to
flavors,
things.
you know?
Yeah.
I want to thank Eamon because he actually answered 2 of our prompts there. One of them being, do they have key limes in Australia? And the other one being, please tell us your obsession for this.
Did you call and leave a voicemail?
He sent me that on Discord.
It could have been 3 prompts.
That's true. I don't
miss.
know what the deal is with like calling from Australia if it's a different voice number.
You're right. Okay. All right. Pass on that one.
His obsession sounded very interesting, though.
Yeah, it really sounds cool.
I love these artists that like challenge themselves further by just like, rather than just doing conventional stuff, they purposely find something that would be really difficult to turn into what would be considered a valid piece of music or piece of art and just do it. Like 10 minutes old YouTube videos.
That was really cool. That's like the 3rd time I've listened to that message, and that's the first time I've actually understood that part of it. That he like literally goes and finds the most recent videos that he can and turns them into beats. That's neat.
That's really
neat.
cool.
Anyway.
I like that it took you 3 times. Me too. It's like, that was not fresh for you.
No. But I actually looked up, I got really curious about key limes because of this. I started looking up key lime pie recipes because I wanted to explain a little bit for Eamon. Like, the one that I know best is a no-bake version, which I think is like literally just like some kind of Cool Whip and sweetened condensed milk and like a cup or two of key lime juice all together, and then you just mix it and put it into a graham cracker crust and put it in the fridge and let it like firm up. And that's the thing I think Mom used to make. And then I think there are some versions that instead of having Cool Whip, they'll have sweetened condensed milk, key lime juice, and egg whites or egg yolks, one or the other, and then you bake it. So it tastes like creamy delicious but really tart key liminess. And then also when I was reading recipes, I was seeing that a lot of them said that they just use limes instead because it's so hard to get enough juice out of key limes. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck? Like, key limes are not even that much smaller than limes. So I went to read about it, and it turns out that the only
They're not nuts.
They're nuts.
Key limes are actually the only fruit that are nuts.
It turns out that outside of South Florida and specifically like the Florida Keys area, which obviously key limes are named for, like key limes actually kind of suck. Like they are smaller and they're more like sour and tart. Like
really?
Most key limes you can buy outside of Florida are from Mexico, and the soil that they are grown in or what the fuck ever is just different there. And so they just don't grow the same. They just don't get as big, and they don't have as much juice, and they don't taste the same. And in the Keys, they especially grow larger and they're less tart.
Wow.
I was going to say, because if you replace the key lime juice with lime juice, it's not going to taste the same either.
Right, and that's the other thing.
So
key lime is key.
yeah. Key lime is key. People will say that in these things. They're like, lime juice. Lime doesn't taste different enough from key lime for it to be worth all the juicing. And I'm like, it totally tastes different. But I think that key limes that are not from the Florida Keys actually don't taste as different, and they maybe taste worse. So like,
that's tragic.
It is tragic. It's really interesting though. So that explains why they don't have them in Australia. If we can't even like, probably I couldn't even get good ones like from where I am right now in Massachusetts. So whatever. So we were really lucky, I guess. We have a key lime tree in our yard, as Ben said, and I used to pick one from it every day and take it to school with me to have for dessert.
Welcome to WayTooBroad, a key lime podcast.
Key lime podcast.
Hey, now I want a key lime pie. Maybe I'll make one.
Oh my god, I love
it. You can't stop me.
Nobody can stop you. Okay, that's all I had for upfront stuff.
I wanted to make a quick mention and congratulations to our, and when I say our, to me and Hannah's favorite musician, B. Steadwell, whose musical just debuted and got a really nice write-up in the Washington Post.
Yes, it did. Yes, you're right. We should have said that.
I did say it.
Well, we did.
You're right.
It's been said.
I should have said it. I should have had it in the outline.
Oh.
Yeah, seriously, congratulations.
I can't believe we forgot that.
No,
I can't believe you and me, Erin, forgot that. It's our fault that it's been forgotten.
Don't even say it. It's too late.
We fucked up too bad.
Anyway, it's called A Letter to My Ex. You can't see it. It's all the shows are sold out. Oh my god.
It's too good for you, listeners.
She does have a leg of it. I think the only other location she has scheduled right now is Oakland, but she's gonna bring it to Oakland in the near future, and I think she is thinking about taking it other places. So
cool.
I'm gonna get in touch with
one of the local
theaters.
I'll hype the shit out of it. I mean,
yeah, I know you will. I'll come down probably if she takes it to Durham. Honestly,
yeah, awesome.
Oh, and also wanted to mention that Ian and I are going to see LP live on Monday. So it'll be the day after this comes out. I'm so excited about it.
Hell yeah.
But I'll talk a little more about that during my obsession. So that's all I have to say about that.
Cool.
That's all I gotta say about that.
That's all I gotta say about that. So then I think what that means is that it's time to pop in.
Pop it in, baby.
I think that means is that it's time to pop in. I'm first.
Erin's first.
Please go.
I'm so obsessed, you guys.
Oh gosh.
Some weeks I'm like, this is just the thing. I'm like resentful about recording this fun podcast with you guys right now because I would rather be doing my obsession, which is that I have retrieved the old Nintendo 64 from my parents' house. It's not my childhood home. And gone through a lot of things to set it up. I have it working with my new age TV, and I have been absolutely obsessed with playing Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's been...
I love that game.
It's such a fun game!
Do you have a good controller?
Do I have a good controller? I mean, yeah, I have a
It's
Nintendo
just
64
it's pretty
controller.
rare for N64 controllers to like last and be good for a long time.
It's great. It's my favorite black. I have a black Nintendo 64
Oh, nice.
controller. We also have a gold, I think from the GoldenEye
cool.
game, but I can't find GoldenEye, which sucks. I'm generally obsessed with like the Nintendo 64. It took me a long time to get it because I don't know what happened. I decided I wanted to play it. And then I went to my parents' house and I found like a bunch of games and I found, the stuff, but I'm like, where's the console? I couldn't find the actual Nintendo 64. And my little brother and sister helped me look all around, and then we finally realized that my big brother had taken it to Washington D.C. So I texted him, and then he had forgotten to bring it when he came the next time, and then he ended up bringing it. And then, but it didn't have any of the power. They didn't have the power cord or the thing that hooks it up to the TV. So I had to order those. And then when I hooked it up to the TV, it didn't work because the output apparently is not strong enough for modern TVs. So then I had to buy an adapter to make it HDMI. It was this whole journey. And to get it to work, I have to kind of shuffle it. And it was to the point where I finally got everything working. And I turned it on and it was not working. I'm the light was on, but nothing was happening. Home. And no one was home. And I was no, this is gonna work. I want it, sheer will of so I was just I'm just gonna shake it and kind of move it around until it works, and that worked.
That's awesome.
And, yeah, you can't touch it. It's working great. It's working great, but you can't touch it or you can't move it while it's on because it'll turn off and or it'll stop working. I don't know. And if you move it, you put it away, you have to find that sweet spot before it'll turn back on. But it doesn't putz out in the middle or anything. But anyway, I've been having a blast. It's been super fun.
Did you play the game a lot as a kid?
Yeah, and I'm at the point now where I'm there have been ins and outs of oh yeah, I remember this part, or I remember I'm supposed to do something here, but I don't remember what it is. And then there have been brand new things where I'm I don't even think I discovered this, one thing the first time around. So it's been really fucking fun. I've just been having a ball. It's just fun adventure and problem solving and just so great. I've also been playing a little Mario 64, but mostly Ocarina of Time.
That's awesome.
Two amazing games.
And I have Majora's Mask on deck for when I have
nice
shit.
Nice. N64 had so many good games.
Yeah.
I think it's my second or third favorite console.
What's your first favorite?
The GameCube.
Oh, nice. I have one of those at my parents' house too. That might.
It's GameCube, then either Switch or N64. And then, I don't know the rest.
I feel I missed out because when I was introduced to games as a kid, PlayStation 1 was the first console I ever had. And so, my only Nintendo exposure was the Game Boy and, the Nintendo DS as I got older. So I never had a GameCube or an N64, and I didn't actually know anyone who did either. So then when I was, 15, I bought, a $50 N64 off someone and played Ocarina of Time. Yeah, and it was super fun, but I didn't get to beat it, and I think that N64 is very dead now. But I would love to go back to it.
Well, it's right there.
Yeah, we have one here
right
now.
there.
It's true.
Is it dead?
No.
No, the one that I had, but you're right. We do have one here now.
I have a GameCube, Super Nintendo, and N64 that all work.
Nice. Yes. Well, great. Yeah, you should hook up your N64. I'm standing here to tell. I'm sitting here to tell you right now that it can be done
through sheer determination.
She's living
sheer determination and a $50 AV to HDMI adapter.
Jeez.
You can probably get a cheaper one. But I hear that there's a lag, and also that was the one that was available at like 8 p.m. at Best Buy, because I was like, oh, hell no. I'm playing this tonight, like, going to Best Buy. Yeah. Anyway.
We've been avoiding playing games on our TV because it's so far away from our couch now, so we can't see anything very well, because it's our old school, like, dorm TV.
It would lag on that TV anyway.
Yeah, it would.
I'm like sitting on a pillow in front of the TV. It's like,
yeah, that's probably what you do.
Because I have like a cord. It was actually the night I got it working was the last time we recorded pod, but I didn't want to say anything because I knew that it would be my obsession this week. So I like was able to play for like 1 hour before we met for podcast, and then I had to turn it off because that you had like one of you had like kicked it. It was like, can we just like, you know, push it back 30 minins, and I was like, yes!
I remember that.
Yeah. You were like, that'd be so good for me. Yeah. It was because I was playing Mario 64.
That's what I was going to ask you, if that's what you thought you were going to be talking about this week.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Ben, do you remember watching Mom play any of the Zelda games?
Of course I do.
That was so great. Pretty much any time anyone mentions,
Midoripsu was the name of her file in Ocarina of Time.
What was the inspiration for that?
You know how, well, you might know, but like on the N64, if you're like holding left or right, or like up or down on the joystick as you're turning it on, then like that position just stays held.
Oh no.
And so that happened when she was turning it on to like start the game. And she just freaked out and just kept like mashing A through the naming screen. And so she just ended up with the name like MJYRPSU, I think. And Midoripsu, all caps. And just played the whole game as Midoripsu.
I love that so much.
Watching your mom play video games is just a mix of so unbelievably fun, but also like very frustrating.
It's so good. It's like where I learned most of my best cuss words, honestly.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Shout out to Aunt Brown.
That there's a new Zelda coming out, or a remake of Link's Awakening for the Switch.
Yeah, I saw that.
That sounds great. I love that.
I was thinking if I continue keeping interest in, you know, and I've never been like a consistent video game player, but if I keep interest in it, I might treat myself to a Switch maybe for my birthday.
Yeah.
Or something, I don't know.
Breath of the Wild is one of the best games ever.
Yeah, you would like Breath of the Wild.
Aunt Brown likes that too.
Yeah, she does.
She's pretty much played a lot of Zelda games.
Yeah, she has. She
Since
likes
Ocarina of
Zelda a
Time.
lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shout out to Aunt Brown. This one's for you. Like, when we end this podcast tonight, I'm like 100% gonna stay up too late playing.
It is so. You're right.
That's
it
the
is so
fucking
fun.
best, though.
Yeah, it's the best feeling.
Yeah.
Have you played Wind Waker, Erin?
No.
Oh, you got it. It's so good. The music in that game is so beautiful.
I played Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Those are good.
Those are the only.
Those are really good too. Majora's Mask is really, really good.
I'm like, honestly, confession, like a little afraid about it. Like, I used to have nightmares about it, you know, because the moon crashes into
it's like
there.
One of the darker Zeldas.
I've had a nightmare where, like when I was playing it, I've had like a couple nightmares where like the moon crashes into the earth and it's like really scary. I'm like obviously like extremely afraid of that scenario because it would be really fucking frightening. I'm not gonna defend myself about that. Just think about it, like you look up at the sky and the like moon's huge, just like crashing in the earth, the tides change.
Big scary face on it.
Yeah. So, and I had a dream where when I was playing it when I was a kid, I like never let that happen because I was afraid of it. And then I had a dream where it was happening in the game, and I turned it off because I was afraid of it, and then the Nintendo didn't turn off, and so I unplugged it, and it didn't turn off, and I unplugged the TV, and it was like still happening. It was very frightening. So I'm like a little like literally afraid of it, but I'm gonna play it. I'm excited.
Erin,
Power through.
Have you ever read or heard of the actually the story's called like Ben? It's about a haunted Majora's Mask cartridge.
It's just called Ben.
That's like what.
Are you making this up? Like, be
No, I
less
swear to
obvious
God, I'm
about
not.
it.
If he was making it up, that'd be a shitty start.
It's about a haunted Majora's Mask cartridge where the file name is Ben, and like it's like a real creepy. It's probably. I mean, I read it when I was a kid and it was really creepy. It's probably really dumb to read now, but I'm gonna find it and send it to you.
Cool.
Because it that just reminded me of it.
What did it do? What did the cartridge? What happened?
Like there are some really creepy scenes and creepy music in Majora's Mask. Like when Link changes into, because you know how he has those masks he can put on to like turn into a Deku or turn into Zora or a Goron.
Mm-hmm.
Those like transformation sequences are really scary if you watch them. Like he screams and his eyes go all like bloodshot and gross.
Yeah.
And like
it's
wide.
a scary game.
Yeah, and it was like the game would like when he tried to turn it off would like flash shots of that and like play the Song of Healing backwards, which is really fucking creepy if you play it. Just like a lot of just creepy shit would happen. I can't remember the details of it because it was so long ago, but I'm gonna find it.
Ben.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
called Ben.
It's called Ben Drowned. I recently
that's what it is.
I recently watched a video about it on this. Do you remember that week when my obsession was like creepy? It was near Halloween, creepy videos on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
And like conspiracy theories and stuff. That week, one of the ones that I watched was about Ben Drowned. And it's like a 45-minute video. I'm looking at it now. It's very creepy because like it's got actual like creepy ass like doctored footage from the game itself. Like I think someone actually like hacked a version of the game where there's like a ghost version of Link following you around and stuff. It's like very creepy. Yeah.
See, I'm not wrong to be creeped out by this game.
No,
like,
I think Majora's
like,
Mask is like
creepy.
known to be one of the
It's
creepier
creepy.
ones. Yeah.
Speaking of that thing that Ben just did that like sounded really fake but like wasn't, reminded me of like this weekend I was at a friend's house and she was like telling a story about when she was in England, and she was like, yeah, I was in England visiting my friend Pip, and I was like, if you had like made up a story about a friend you didn't have like that, and like we're struggling to like quickly come up with a name, like that's what you would say, like, oh yeah, visiting my friend Pip,
My friend
in England.
My old British friend Pip.
my best bud Pip. Anyway, I'm like 3 times as creeped out by Majora's Mask now. Oh no,
I'm sorry.
I'm good. I'm 30. I'm an adult. I'm a grown person. I'm gonna play it. It's fine.
If you have Majora's Mask nightmares, will you please record them?
It's
my
like,
other
so dreamy.
podcast.
Okay.
You're taking
This is
advantage of her
this is-
fear.
This is why you're like manipulating me into having nightmares to have content for your other podcast. That's not moral, Hannah.
It's not right. It's not proper.
Pip.
What is that?
Anyway.
Tisn't kind, tisn't proper, tisn't nice. Do you guys watch Pulled Dark?
Sounds like Helena Bonham Carter.
Nope.
Okay. Okay. All right.
That's not her name. I think I just said Helena Bonham Carter. Why? That's not her name.
Helen de Banda McCarty.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Helena Bottom Corner. Helena, the bottom corner.
Sounds like one of those videos.
Yeah.
You're right.
Sinekai de Dodi Chodi.
Oh no, my headphones. All right.
One Wario.
February.
Shout out to pronunciation. What is
Manual?
it? Manual on YouTube.
I don't know which one is real. I don't know.
I know.
We do that exact like sequence of like pronunciation manual things like once every like 3 months or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're used to it.
Yeah, it's like every few podcasts. and laugh like it's the first fucking time we've ever heard it.
It doesn't get old. It simply doesn't. It's like key lime pie.
I mean, if you leave it out for even more than a few days,
you can freeze it. If you freeze it, it doesn't get old.
It gets cold.
It gets cold.
but it stops aging. It gets frozen in time.
The epitome of a Silly Friday episode.
Yeah. All right, that's all for me.
Wow, great one.
Yeah, enthralled and slightly scared by my
sarcastic, Hannah.
What?
Wow, great one.
Wow. Okay.
That was awesome.
Okay, who's up? I think it's Ben and Kylie.
It
AKA
is.
Kylie.
It's
Yep.
Kylie. Time to cut out the middleman. Bye, Ben.
It's Kylie.
Middleman out of here. Kylie, take it away.
Okay, so my obsession, which kind of like Erin, it's been a very, very long obsession and just a very deep one. A long and deep
Long
obsession.
and deep. Woo. Like Ian's lungs.
Go on.
It's a book series. It's called the Throne of Glass book series. I think, Erin, you're reading another book series by the same author, Sarah J. Maas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really popular. The last book in the series just came out recently called Kingdom of Ash. There's 8 books in total. I'm on the 5th or 6th one currently. I don't remember. But I've kind of just blown through them these past few weeks. They're so good. So basically it's a fantasy series. No surprise, that's kind of all I read, but it's really interesting because I've never seen an author evolve so clearly throughout a book series. It's really it kind of the plot, like, without giving away a lot, because it's 8 books, so a lot happens and a lot changes, but
I thought you said it's a book.
It's a book.
It's a book, so you know there's a story and stuff, like things happen.
It's a book, so you're not just supposed to know everything that happens before you read it.
Right. The like main pitch is that the main character is a young girl who was raised as an assassin, and she was put in enslavement for a year and has been taken out to serve as like the king's champion to go and kill all his political opponents, basically. Even though the king was the one that like slaughtered her family. You know, it's like, it's a fairly, at first glance, it seems like a fairly cliche fantasy with which, you know, like a badass female lead will always draw me in, but there's like a fair amount of like, oh, there's a initial love triangle and like some badass fight scenes. And at first it felt like a very self-indulgent fantasy for me, where I was like, yeah, I love this world, but it's not like, there was nothing blowing my mind about it. And not to say I didn't thoroughly enjoy it the whole time, but it wasn't incredibly...
It didn't feel like super new.
It didn't feel like super new. It didn't feel like it was... And I sound like I'm talking badly about it now, but my point being that it grows beyond that initial plot to become so much more than it's pitched as, and you realize as you go further that the author, Sarah, had planned this from the start.
Cool.
And kind of subverts a lot of your expectations and gives you some of the most fascinating leads, especially female leads, that I've ever read, and has some very, very important scenes and dialogues that really represent like an abusive relationship, like not like partner relationship, but just like a father figure manipulative relationship, and just it touches upon a lot of really important mental health issues. You know, when you like watch a fantasy movie or show, or you read a fantasy book, and like there's this badass character that like kills a bunch of people, but you're still supposed to like them because they're like fun and stuff. I feel like a lot of those stories don't touch upon the fact that if you kill a lot of people, that like fucks you up mentally. And that this book like really does. And you don't expect it to at all. Just like, I don't know, just really great passages about mental health, about like relationships, and how men tend to idealize a woman to be like, you know, kind of like the manic pixie dream girl. And it has like a really intelligent conversation between two straight white guys about how they should like respect and treat women, and just overall a lot of great stuff. And it's a super well written series. There's like a witch later on who eats men and like relishes it. It's just fantastic. It's very it's like what did you I was describing that to you and you said it's cathartic.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
This is also the one where you said she's like unapologetically still very feminine.
Yes.
Right?
So actually, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So one of the things I love about this female lead, because a lot of times when you come across strong female leads in stories, and this is a critique that I think shows like Mrs. Maisel still actually do. They introduce the female lead as being different from other girls, which I think really fucks with our heads as women, because I feel like that reading a lot of books like that made me grow up thinking, you know, the point, in order for me to be the kind of person I want to be, I shouldn't be like other girls. And that like framed a lot of my personality as a kid. And a lot of stories with strong female leads still do that. And one of the things I love about this series from the get-go is that this female lead, who's an assassin and is super badass, loves stereotypical girly things. Like, she's loves shopping. She's obsessed with herself. Like, she's the most selfish character I have ever read. And the most, like, narcissistic. She's like, yes, I'm fucking beautiful, and I know it. So, like, whenever anyone compliments her, she's like, I know. And it, like, it could sound obnoxious, but it's honestly really refreshing, because I hadn't read a female lead like that. That could be both badass, but also, like, girly, and be really proud of it. And I was reading some, like, reviews, and there were a lot of reviews of this book saying,
Written by men.
And women, saying, I hate the lead because she's so full of herself. And I was like, how many strong male leads are the most selfish pricks you've ever met? Let's, like Iron Man.
Yeah.
And we idolize them.
And we love them, right? But the second we let a female be self-loving and also, like, stereotypically female, we hate them and call them so obnoxious. And it was ridiculous. So that's something I really respect that the author did, is she was like, yeah, she can be both badass and a girl, you know?
Yeah.
And it really tries to fight against those stereotypes of, like, girls hating each other and not being able to do what are considered girly things. And I could talk about this book series forever. I think I've probably explained the entire plot to Ben. It's absolutely fantastic. And she planned it from the start. The last book that came out with a really beautiful poster as the book cover that one of the artists I follow did, which I, like, framed and we're going to be hanging up. So it's just really good. And the series has won 2 Goodreads awards now. So if anyone's looking for some kick-ass fiction with a bunch of strong female leads and some awesome male leads, I highly recommend it. The first book is called Throne of Glass, but the whole series is called Throne of Glass novellas, I think. So yeah.
Novellas? They're so long. They're not novellas.
That's what it says. That's what it says on the...
That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds really, really cool.
That sounds so cool. I was trying to do some math because I am reading one of her books.
And I had to do math about it.
I had to do math about it. Okay. I am, because I'm reading her books, and I'm locked into reading 2 of them by recommendation of my best friend who has great taste. Shout out to Sarah if you're listening. And I'm liking it okay. I'm finding the writing to be just, like, a little inconsistent, and fantasy is outside of my normal genre, and I've been listening to, like, and reading so much of it lately, which is kind of cool. But she wrote it in 2009. I was like, oh, that was published after the book series that you're talking about. But she actually wrote the book I'm reading before she wrote, I think, or maybe she wrote, it seems like she wrote The Throne of Glass when she was 16 years old.
Really?
What?
But then
she's 32 now.
She began writing it. What'd you say?
She's 32 now.
Yeah.
So
I
she's...
think she...
Wow.
Yeah, so it sounded like she wrote Throne of Glass when she was 16, and then she wrote the book I'm reading in 2009, but it was published in 2015. So I heard that the second book of the series I'm reading is like really, really good. So that's just giving me hope. It sounds like you're finding that she like has really evolved as a writer, and it sounds like the book I'm reading might have been like in that time period too.
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about that other series, but I think her writing, as much as I think the books get increasingly better, like just because they're getting more interesting and in depth, her writing has been fairly consistent, if not like definitely improving, but I wouldn't say it's like jumping all over the place or anything. So even if you start the series, the first book is like well written. Cool. Yeah, the only reason I say it is because I feel like you can enter the series and be like, this is like a stereotypical fantasy, but it's so good. Just such a good series.
Gosh.
So cool.
Yeah, I wish she was on Twitter or something because I've been following all of my favorite authors, but she is not, unfortunately.
She's on Instagram.
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
Get on that shit, dumbass.
The real SJ Maas.
I like that a lot, like that distinction between like gender and like gender presentation, and like it. I agree. Even like in the Darker Shade of Magic series, like Lila is such a cool character, but she is a little like her gender presentation is more on the masculine side, which is which is fine, but it's interesting to hear you point that out. It's like, it's like almost like you have to set that apart. Like those authors feel the need to like set their female leads apart by, pushing them closer to what our culture decides is like the lead, which is, very like male centered.
Yeah, masculine. It's so prevalent. Like it's in things that are still being released and you don't realize it, but it's just like I didn't start looking at it more until I was doing a lot of self-reflection and being like, I have so much internalized misogyny, and I think a lot of it comes from that sort of thing where I read so many books with female leads and they were all like, don't be like those typical girls as they framed them.
Right.
Like I was saying, Mrs. Maisel actually does it. Like there's dialogue in Mrs. Maisel that's like, one of the guys is like, I don't want to be with a normal girl, or like,
yes, the new love interest absolutely does that. And also like the more, I don't know, she started out, I just started rewatching that. I was just thinking about this as you were, because you mentioned Mrs. Maisel right at the beginning, Kylie. I'm like, I had just for some reason watched the first couple episodes again, and she's changed so much just as like a sort of character. Like her personality has changed since the beginning, which is like fine. I mean, that's fine. It's not like people don't do that. Like you big changes in your life happen and maybe you end up being more true to yourself, and that's great. But if you look at the way that she has changed, she's definitely become like less of a sort of traditional like wifely womanly character and more like she curses a lot more now, stuff like that, like that's just it's like it's in one sense it's empowerment, and in another sense it is like, if you think about it as a trend that goes across like all strong female leads and almost everything, you're right, it's like it's sort of cuts both ways.
Did you see speaking of Mrs. Maisel, both Rachel Brosnahan and Alex Borstein, right? Or Bornstein. I think it's Borstein.
I love her.
I
think you're right.
They like replied a few days ago to some criticism about Mrs. Maisel just like leaving her kids alone in the show, which we've talked about. God. But they had a really interesting response to it, which is like, number one, the show never says that like Mrs. Maisel is supposed to be a great mom or a good person either. Like she's not supposed to be written to be an amazing mom, and she's allowed not to be because like number two, if it was a male lead, no one would ever ask about her kids or why she wasn't taking care of her kids. And the example that Rachel Brosnahan brought up was Don Draper in Mad Men, who is an awful dad and like always abandoning his kids to have affairs with other women and stuff. And no one ever like criticized that presentation because that's just like, well, we expect men to do that.
I think that's fair, but I will say that my criticism wasn't like she's a bad mom or caring about that. It was like, if Joel was living in the house with them, I would be like, okay, that makes sense. But it felt more like it was unrealistic that she would like you would just never be able to do so much when you have kids is what it felt like.
The other thing is that
she lives with her parents.
That's like how parenting was in the 50s for wealthy parents. Like it was like nannies mostly did the job of raising the kids, and also the other thing that she brought up was like there's a lot of time, you know, quote unquote off screen where she could be spending time with her kids that we never see because that's not the interesting parts.
Yeah, I definitely haven't gotten the vibe that she's supposed to be a particularly good mom. She kind of brushes her kids off.
Yeah.
My direct criticisms were more like the times that were portrayed there where they like all collectively forgot about the children.
Yes.
Which I feel like narrates a larger attitude towards the children. There were 2 specific times where they left their children unattended, the collective family, because they forgot about them. The parents and and the grandparents. Like 2 separate ones in 2 separate episodes, which I feel like that establishes a pattern, like an assumed pattern. So, like, my feelings about that wasn't like her. It was like, it takes a village, and the village is like not doing it either. So the village left.
You're right. My problem with it had always kind of been that they didn't feel like they felt so often like set dressing, like they were not even really like they would be in a scene, but they weren't like they just were. It was like she might as well be carrying around a doll of a baby, like. But you know, but I do think her response was really valid and interesting.
I agree.
Chill.
Sometimes I just think that like if having kids was that easy, it's like having a pet, like a really easy cat. Those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy cats. Great obsession, Kylie.
Thanks.
Great job.
I have so many books that I want to talk about to you all that Ben hasn't read, so he hasn't been able to steal them. But
we all have to come back soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Kylie's book corner.
I should share my Goodreads list with y'all.
Yeah. You could pop in, or
Kylie,
you could, if you don't want to pop in, you could leave us a voicemail.
I'll leave you a voicemail.
774.
Leave us a voicemail downstairs while I'm recording so we can hear it in the background and then we'll talk on about it.
Yo, that'd be dope. I almost emailed the podcast the other day. I really am regretting that I didn't. Because it was like, I was listening to the part where I was like in the bathroom and you were talking about something and I like had an anecdote about it and I almost emailed the podcast about it. I wish I had.
All right, are you ready for me then?
Welcome to you now.
Welcome to me now. Great
Good
obsession,
job.
Kylie. I'm going to check those out. After I finish plumbing Emily of New Moon for clues.
Wow. That did not sound right.
All right. My obsession is a musician.
I know.
My obsession is a musician who is a lady who likes ladies.
Woot.
Which I've learned is my new favorite genre of music, lesbian. And it started with Erin. Erin was the first lesbian music that I ever was obsessed
Erin's
with.
my favorite lesbian music.
Aww. Guys.
And then there was the first like one that really kicked off this round was Janelle Monáe.
Who's pansexual, but she's in that blanket.
Right. And then there was B. Steadwell.
Was and is.
Is. Yeah. And then there was and is LP, who, as I mentioned, I'm going to see on Monday. And now there's Hayley Kiyoko.
Hayley Kiyoko. I've listened
You
to.
do?
Yeah, I've listened to some of her more famous songs. I went on a binge one night where I
Girls
was like,
Like
I
Girls.
love this shit, and watched all of her videos.
Yeah, they're great. And she directs all of them. She's talented. Okay, so Hayley Kiyoko is she's an LA-based musician. She's like a pop musician. She started out in like a girl group that was formed by Vitamin C. Like in the
What?
Yeah. it was called the Stunners.
Wow,
Let me just Google that real quick. An American pop girl group formed in Los Angeles in 2007, and I can't remember where I saw that it was vitamin C that formed them, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
C?
I think it was on, you know that song Graduation? As we go on, we
Oh, yes.
I don't think I know.
remember. That's her. We had
I
to
thought that song was so
together.
old.
And as our lives change.
How old is
What?
that song?
Probably around that time too. It came out right around when I was
thought
graduating
it was
high school.
like from the 80s or something.
Oh no, it's like 2005, 2006.
From like the 80s, 90s, and today.
Right. So, Hayley Kiyoko's been in the game of music since then, or maybe even before, but she hasn't actually been like super out and like telling like really prominently queer stories until like 2015. She had an album called, I think, This Side of Paradise, and that's the album that Girls Like Girls was on, which was, as I read it, she was co-writing the song with a couple of people, and they asked her, what is something that nobody knows about you? Like, no, like in the world at large, people don't already know about you, because she already had a few albums by then. And so she told them about, and I don't think she was like ever, I don't think she was like in the closet to like friends and family, but she wasn't singing about it, you know? And so they, you know, wrote this song together, and it was like obviously this huge hit, like, and then the other day I was putting it onto our playlist for our Savannah trip, which is coming up next month.
Woo, woo, woo.
And I was like, I wonder if this is like, because I never listened that closely to the song, but I was like, I wonder if this like if this musician is actually a lesbian, and if she actually has other songs about. Actually, you know what sparked it? I wanted to listen to Girls Like Girls, but I was on this computer which doesn't have Spotify, so I went on YouTube to watch the video, and that was the first music video of hers that I saw. And they're all incredibly gay.
Should I know that song by the title?
Yes.
What is that song?
Girls like boys
Yep.
do.
Boys
Nothing
do
new.
nothing new.
Yep. You should know. You've heard it. I know you've heard it.
Saw your face, said your name.
Oh, we'll watch the video after.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Hannah, I
But
did
you
this-
guys were singing it
Yeah,
staggered, so
it doesn't
was
sound
hard
like
to
that
hear
then.
the actual song.
I'm not really doing it justice here.
I did that
No,
same
you're-
thing, Hannah.
you're
I
like
heard
not.
that song, watched the video, and was like, this is super gay, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, like,
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
watching them. It, like, because I had never seen
Yeah,
a video
that's exactly
that was,
what-
like, that wasn't using girls kissing girls as, like, a cool twist. You know what I mean? Like the new
Yes.
Ariana Grande song,
Yes.
and, like, the Katy Perry song. Like, this felt like it was just genuinely about that. And it was really refreshing.
Yeah, so this, and I think that's part of what I think I really like about a lot of her songs and her videos, is that, like, it's clearly coming from a place of it. So for one thing, okay, so that video, what it portrays for those who haven't seen it is, it's all actors. Hayley Kiyoko's like not in that particular video. She's in a lot of them, but it's like two basically best friends like hanging out with each other, and also with one of the friends like boyfriends. Through most of the video it's like the three of them, and it just is clear through these like little like looks and touches and stuff that the two like female leads of the video are like just feeling things for each other that are out of their sort of comfort zone, or what would be out of the comfort zone of the boyfriend, let's say. And he's also like drunk through most of the video, just like not really being a great boyfriend. And they're young, they're probably like high school age, and then, you know, there's like a culmination of it where they are like about to kiss by the pool, and then he comes and like he starts like doing things that are abusive, and instead the main character, one of the girls, she like beats the shit out of him, and then they make out right in front of him as
It's
he's
like
like
shit that I'm
writhing on the
in
floor.
2019.
Hell yeah, I love it.
It's like really just got like blood all over
Cathartic.
her face, and they're
That's
just,
what I've been
they're still
calling it.
just, like,
When we beat
making
the
out.
shit out of abusive men, it's cathartic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then make out with their blood on
Yes. Yes.
twixt their lips.
So it's and I was like, wow, this is like, and it all felt very, you know, very genuine, and like it was like sort of like telling a story of her life. And there's like a song she has called Sleepover, which is about having a crush on like a straight best friend, and having to like to to think of them one way in your head, and that's not like what they're ever going to want, and you still are having like all these things that are like very acceptably platonic between like best friends of that age, but they're just like it's creating all these feelings and making her, you know, feel alone and like lonely and all of this, and like all it's sort of like I think I'm really enjoying seeing and hearing all of this great art being made from so many different perspectives on like being a lesbian. Like it sounds like one thing, or like being a queer person, like it can sound like one thing, but it's like such a multitude of experiences. It's almost like what you were talking about with female leads in books, Kylie, is like I love the way that LP expresses herself in her music videos and in her music. I love the way that her speaking voice and her singing voice are so different, and that you wouldn't necessarily expect her voice to come out of like her body when you look at her, and that like her videos are the way that they are, and are like, you know, her just being herself and her fiance just being herself, and them being in love, and like this is like a very young, well, she's like actually our age, but you know, she's been writing for a long time. This is like a very young, like hip, like cis girl who also has her own life experiences with being like she's half Japanese, so she's got like that whole sort of like minority element she's dealt with in her life too, and you know, she's got a lot of things to talk about as well that are not the same things that LP talks about. She's also like an incredible romantic. Like she like a lot of her songs are about having like people who like who think that what it reads like to me is like the people that she wants to be with, when they find out that she's a lesbian, they assume that means that she's like not that into monogamy, or that she won't care if like they're not if they're like also like with someone else, or if like that just means she wants to be casual or something. And like she's like but she wants like a great big love story like lots of people do, not everybody but lots of people, you know, and like and that's like, I don't know, it's just her music is really sweet, it's really good, it's extremely catchy. I've been waking up with it stuck in my head like every morning.
Not as sung by me, but
I've been and also she's a great dancer, and I heard her in an interview saying that when she was younger she had like really bad scoliosis, and at one point they thought that she would like not be able to walk at some point in her life, but she like did the work to straighten up her spine, and now she's like a great dancer. And also she's very funny. I've watched some interviews and stuff, and like she's really silly. She talks about in one video how she's half Japanese, and she thought she was half Scottish, but it turns out like her dad did like an ancestry thing and he has no Scottish blood at all, but she just doesn't accept that because she's invested a lot of like her energy in the idea of being Scottish, and she already owns a kilt.
Love that.
So I just like her. I think she's fun, and I like her music.
We were talking too about how like just in the context of like LP and B. Studwell, who we love so much, but like that she's also like her music videos and her presentation is like more femme, and like that, just like appreciating like that, you know, shade of right. You know, of like just like I love all these like voices and stories and like people, you know, like, and the art that they create. I'm really jazzed about that.
Yeah, and the women that she casts tend to be also, so a lot of her videos are just like femme on femme,
which I feel like that kind of voice is like missing a lot in a lot of like lesbian art. Like I feel like there's that particular like, you know, like femme point of view is, you know, not to put people in boxes or whatever if they don't want to be, but like, you know, people who are femme presenting, who, you know, or feminine, who are also gay, like I don't think they get to see themselves represented as much as, you know, somebody who's not.
Yeah, because typically they are represented as just having fun. Right. The like very feminine, beautiful like girls in shows and stuff are always like, I'm fun, so
I'm experimenting.
Yeah, I'm experimenting.
Right.
Like you never see a genuine
dedicated lesbian.
Yeah, like
it's true. And
go all in.
And I feel like as a society, like we're we're like more comfortable with the idea of a lesbian like presenting more like butch or like more masculine, when that's not how a lesbian has to be, like that's just like the idea of someone who likes women to us has to look more like a man for the general like populace to be comfortable with the idea of it.
Yeah.
I've been
or to like accept it or like believe.
Right.
Yeah, to believe it. Exactly.
Yeah. I've been like surrounding myself with a lot of queer creators, and it's been so refreshing to just have these perspectives that as like a straight cis woman I never had. And it's just like a lot of new content that's coming out. Like, for example, one of the things I love is, did you guys see the new trailer for like Frozen 2?
No.
It sounds like it's off topic, but all of these creators that I follow have been like really pushing that Elsa is like the most determined lesbian ever, and like that's 100% canon. And I really love it because Disney doesn't have the balls to do that. And a lot of these, like, that's what people have been critiquing, right? Is that Disney hasn't really accepted that into any of their content, and a lot of people are making that possibility available. Like, a lot of creators are really pushing for that, so that like there's a whole community where like that's just true. You know what I mean? And like I think it's important because when all of these characters come out or anything like that and they're just assumed to be straight by default, it's so nice to have these voices that are like, no, they're not. Like, they're definitely not. And just like even watching Critical Role, like 2 of the females there are lesbians, and like a lot of a book I've been reading recently has a bisexual female lead, which I realized I had never read a book, and that's my own fault, with a non-straight female lead. And it was just so new and important for me to like get those perspectives. And I'm really happy where a lot of the artist community has found like confidence in themselves in expressing that, like the queer artist community. And it's so nice to see like musicians being able to come out and be comfortable with that too, like Hayley Kiyoko.
Yeah, she's like was opening for Justin Bieber for a while.
Another noted
she, like, toured with him.
Sorry, only in his early career.
But I just think that's cool because actually, like, so I watched this other video where she was watching fan covers of her songs on YouTube and then reacting to them, and then that whatever publication was doing that reached out to those people and had them watch her watching them and like saying her message to them, and they were all really kind messages like, keep doing what you're doing, and I love that thing you did with that part and stuff like that. And a lot of them like cried and stuff, but then they all were lesbians, every single person that sang a song. I don't know if that's just like pretty much that's who's covering her songs or if they did that on purpose, but a lot of what they said was really touching, and it was a lot of like the kind of stuff that is like, it's the goddamn reason that people who are not like just the people that we're used to seeing need to be out here creating things, because you never know who is out there who you're going to be the first person that they really get to see like doing what they love and looking like they look or like presenting the way they want to present and stuff, and it was all like it was super sweet, but it was like I'm just very happy that there's somebody out there like that right now, and that she's like really finding mainstream success and like mainstream success. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like it's so important that things like She-Ra is made by Noelle Stevenson, who's queer, and like I think that she offers a new perspective in the show, even though it's not officially canon yet, but like it definitely is. And like that's a kids show, and like it's important to be giving out that perspective from a young age too, so that they don't need to feel so alone until they're able to find their community, And
the criticism people I think my least favorite criticism, well, I can't say that, but like the criticism I hate for when there's like a queer representation in media is when people like accuse it of being a political statement.
Oh God!
And it's like it's not a political statement to be gay. So why is it a political statement for there to be a gay person in a show?
Oh my god. Or like the number of people who are
that's
like
fucking ridiculous.
It's like the guys who are like, oh, you had to do a female lead in this game just to appease the like SJWs, and it's like, what we exist. What are you talking about?
we're half the population.
We literally exist here.
What the fuck is
I don't know, you guys. Evan Rachel Wood, was she a part of the original Frozen cast?
Evan Rachel Wood?
Yeah, she's in Frozen too. Which
she might be.
Isn't she? Is she Anna? Who's Anna?
No, Kristen Bell.
No, she's not.
Kristen Bell is Anna?
And then the other one.
She might be the new character that they briefly teased in the trailer.
Right, which makes me feel like that's pretty gay.
Okay, everyone's saying that new
is
character is
gay.
Elsa's girlfriend, so, like...
OMG.
Noted bisexual Evan Rachel Wood is in the cast. I'm just saying.
It's true. Everyone...
Okay, so...
I don't know, so you guys said you haven't seen the trailer, but, like, it consists of Elsa desperately trying to cross the ocean, and, like, everyone's been saying it's to find her long-lost love, that, like...
Yo.
Frozen 2 trailer. I think Erin just
It's
watched
really
the trailer.
I didn't. I just Googled it. Well, actually, I typed in Frozen, and the first thing it offered me was, like, Frozen Elsa girlfriend.
Yes!
I was like, okay. You know me. You know why I'm here.
I want them to like push back the release a year because
Yes.
they're changing the plot to add that.
Me too.
Frozen contained. That's how you say things about a movie. Frozen contained a gay family, though.
Did it?
Did it?
I haven't seen it in a long time.
But it was so subtle.
Yeah, it's subtle, and maybe they're like Christmas special, which I've also seen. Not that I'm a Frozen fan. I think it's like the least
Which you've also
remarkable like Disney Pixar offering. Oh my god, like Brave, Tangled, Jesus. Anyway,
Tangled's really good.
Tangled's amazing.
Tangled's so good. I'm like, it's like
I haven't seen
I feel
either
like
of those.
Those movies are like better than Frozen. Like, why is everyone losing their shit over
Because
Frozen?
of
It
Let
was
It
fine.
Go.
I will say that I did. I know, like, I think Frozen definitely got hyped to the point where everyone was getting annoyed with it. But I will say that when we saw it, we both were really appreciative to see a Disney plot where it wasn't a guy saving the girl. It was about a sister's relationship. And,
Yeah, I
like,
enjoyed
not
that
about
part of it.
a romance,
But
necessarily.
Brave was like about her, like
Yeah,
being
that too.
romancing herself.
Yeah,
which I
that's
like.
very
that
true.
sounded more salacious than I meant it to.
But the new trailer looks really good, and everyone's actually talking about how the first one was, like, very Disney and, like, funny and cute, and this one's, like, dark looking, and, like, it's, like, kind of intense, so I'm
Whoa,
kind of excited for it.
cool.
This looks awesome. I am watching it now. Sorry.
It looks beautiful. The graphics look...
They look better, right? They look
Yeah.
better.
I mean,
The
it was
water
6
is
years ago.
amazing.
She looks polished and ready to go, and I love her. That sounded weird. That sounded really weird.
Wow.
I didn't mean it weirdly.
Wow.
I meant, like, ready to go, do their adventure.
She is polished and ready to go, and I love her.
That sounded terrible. I meant, like, the graphics look great.
You're digging that hole.
Oh, shit. Now I'm just a creep.
Speaking of noted bisexual, I have a correction, not for myself, but I have a correcting Hannah.
Okay.
We've been watching Schitt's Creek, and you stated that the character David, played by Daniel Levy, was a bisexual. He's a pansexual. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
He labels himself as a pansexual.
I apologize
in the most hilarious way.
to the character of David. What does he say?
So he's. I don't think it's a spoiler. Well, I don't think it's a spoiler. Maybe you can cut this out. He's wine shopping with his friend, and she was like, "So I only like red wine, and I thought that you also like red wine." And he was like, "I like red wine, but I also like white wine." And one time I dated a Merlot who used to be a Chardonnay. I like that too.
That's nice.
But it was really funny. Well, great! Wow, what a nice obsession, Hannah. You were pinging me about this earlier in the week, so I've listened to her album a lot this week because of that. So that's been really nice.
So you liked it?
It's great. It's a great album. I think it's a really, really great album.
It's a great album. It's got a naked lady on the cover. It's called Expectations. That's her latest album.
Yeah.
I think it came out in 2018.
Yeah, that's quite the expectation.
So 2018 was 20-gay-teen, right? I've heard that 2019 is 20-bi-teen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Cool.
Okay.
As a straight cis woman, I would apparently agree with that.
20-bi-teen.
That's just what I've heard.
When is it going to be like 20 trans teen?
Maybe like 2013 happened.
Yeah, I feel like we need to make that.
Honestly, I feel like, well, I'm not qualified to say, but I feel like I've seen a lot more trans representation so far this year than I did like in the past.
Not
but I've
nearly
also been
enough.
seeking it out.
Yeah,
that's true. Accurate. Yeah, so that's it. Let me just write that down. I'm gonna go watch more of her videos now, probably. Okay, should we do homework?
Yes.
Erin, what's your homework for the peoples?
My homework is to get a Nintendo 24. That's not what it's called at all. Get a Nintendo 24 and then add 40 to it.
Perfect.
And then play Ocarina of Time. That's is a very hard thing.
That's the cheapest way to do is just add the 40 yourself.
Yeah. This is a hard thing to do, although I will say it's less expensive than buying like a Nintendo Switch, but like at the end of the day, probably not by much. So, but if you can get your grubby little paws on one, I would recommend it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Grubby little paws.
I've been saying that. Okay. Yeah, my Twitter's @ErinByrne. I review lesbian movies, lesbian movie reviews on Instagram. And I have a website. That's the third thing I've been forgetting all of these days. ErinByrne.com. Check it on out.
That's right.
I've got music. I've got lesbian music on there, so.
Gotta check
in
that
droves.
Out. Great lesbian music.
Thank you.
You're
Hannah's
welcome.
on there too, singing lesbian songs with me.
I'm a fan.
It's that queer 10.
And a collaborator, but mostly a fan.
Friend and collab.
Ben and Kylie, what's your homework?
What's the homework, baby?
My homework is to read the Throne of Glass series, or as much as you can, but go out and buy that first book. It's in the young adult section by Sarah J. Maas. Highly recommend, obviously. Also, I guess go watch the Frozen 2 trailer, because apparently I'm advertising that. Yeah.
What do you mean as much as you can, like before you go blind, or?
What did you say?
You said read the Throne of Glass series, or as much as you can.
Yeah, before you physically can't.
Before your eyes catch fire. And burn to ash.
Then you go watch the Frozen trailer to cool them off.
Exactly.
My homework is to have a great day.
No, your homework is to buy some home run ball. Or I guess don't buy some home run ball.
Whenever you're listening to this, just have a great day.
Also,
go to my Twitter, nicely proved Ben.
Oh yeah, should I say my Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter.
My Twitter and my Instagram are at Kylie TMO. You get it. That's it.
She also posts pictures of our adorable kitties.
I do.
Yes. Cool. My homework is go listen to Expectations by Hayley Kiyoko on Spotify. The whole album's really good. Or if you want to just dip your toe in, if you go look on YouTube and just search Hayley Kiyoko, you can find like half a dozen great videos that she directed that have her wonderful music on them, and lots of extremely gay themes. So
yay.
The video for Feelings is very, very good. The song Feelings, and also the video for Girls Like Girls, and for Curious. Oh, the dancing in the Curious video, I love it. So those ones are good. And then my Twitter is at Hanthropology, and that's also my Instagram. And if you want to call us, because actually, okay, let's see, what's the countdown? If no one calls us before was it March 2nd? So if no one calls us within the next like 2 weeks from when this comes out, Google will cancel our podcast. So please call us.
Wow.
You don't have to leave a message if you don't want to, But if you'd like to call us and tell us what your obsession is this week,
we want to hear
and
it.
save our podcast, we'd love to hear it, and we'd love to keep doing this show for you. So our phone number is 774-326-0420.
Blaze it.
And on Twitter, if you have trouble remembering that number and you want to like tweet at us or whatever, it's also on the website. I'll get to that. You can tweet at us at TooBroadPod on Twitter. We're at WayTooBroad on Instagram, and we also have an email address, WayTooBroad@gmail.com. And if you didn't catch any of that, if you go to WayTooBroad.com, it's all there, all our contact information and stuff, including the phone number that you please need to call, or else our show's going to be canceled. And also, I just realized why I keep on forgetting to talk about So Dreamy. It's because I have listened to So Dreamy listed in the homework, like below all of our contact information. So, so I also have another podcast. It's called So Dreamy. It's about dreams. I implant nightmares into people's heads on my first podcast, and then I reap the rewards in my second one.
Indeed.
And that's so anything that you want is on WayTooBroad.com. If anything you need, you go to www.earnben.com, and it'll be there. And I think that's it.
Kylie, have you been to www.earnben.com?
I think I have. Yeah, that's
good.
The joint site. Yeah,
because you've had anything you need.
Yeah,
anything you need.
Anything I need. It satisfied all my needs as a visitor.
Earnben.com. Great.
Good. Great. So then, great. So thank you, Kylie. Thanks to the listener for listening. Thanks to Kylie for joining us. It was a delight.
Wow, what a delight. What a freaking... You're welcome back.
Aside from that terrible Frozen comment I made, we should just apologize again to all listeners.
I have already forgotten what
No, we don't need to say it again.
And I love her.
I've already forgotten what it was. You know what? I'm just now remembering. But you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, for real. Just maybe don't talk about Frozen.
Yeah, maybe shy away from that subject. You're not trusted to speak on it anymore.
Anyway, the podcast candle is now extinguished.
Bye.
Maybe. Bye.
So long. Farewell.
That's good. Yeah, that does get the tingles going.
That's what we can say, like, about our video. Like, listen to this one, it really gets those tingles going.
Okay.